You think no contact is a trick to make her miss you, but it's not a trick. It's a mirror, and it's about to show her what she actually lost. Right now, you're sitting in the quiet, checking your phone like it owes you answers. You're replaying the last conversation, the last argument, the last maybe she gave you, like it was a promise. And your mind keeps whispering the same poison. If I don't reach out, she'll forget me. But listen to me. Forgetting isn't what happens when a woman loses access to a man who had real presence. What happens is regret. Not instantly, not romantically, but psychologically in stages. And before we get into it, subscribe because you don't need entertainment. You need reminders, you need a voice that drags you back to reality. When your emotions try to negotiate your self respect, you're not weak for feeling it. You're weak if you keep obeying it. Here's the thesis, and I'm going to say it clean: no contact. Doesn't make her come back. No contact reveals the truth. It exposes what was real, what was convenient, what was fantasy, and what was manipulation on both sides. And if she feels regret, it's not because you played it right. It's because your absence forces her brain to confront consequences. That's what it really means. Most guys misunderstand this. They think no contact is a leverage move, like silence is a fishing hook. They think if they just disappear long enough, she'll suddenly wake up crying, write a paragraph, and beg. That's the misconception. Here's the hard truth. The moment you go silent, you stop being a character she can manage. You stop being a source she can tap. You stop being a predictable emotional vending machine. And when you stop being manageable, she has to deal with herself. Why does that happen? Root cause. Your presence was doing emotional labor she didn't respect until it was gone. You were the stabilizer, the forgiveness, the consistency, the it's okay after she acted like it wasn't. And when that's removed, her nervous system starts scanning for the missing piece. And what does it cost you if you break no contact? Everything. Because every time you reach out, you teach her the same lesson. Your boundaries are negotiable. Your standards are flexible. Your pain is not urgent. Your self-respect is a costume you wear until you get lonely. So let's reframe. No contact isn't punishment. It's not hate. It's not a tantrum. It's self-governance. It's you saying, I will not continue a connection that requires me to abandon myself. That's called self-respect. That's called emotional leadership. That's called being a man again. Now, here are the 7 stages of regret she feels during no contact. Not in a perfect timeline, not like a movie, but as a psychological progression that happens when a woman loses access to a man who finally stopped chasing. Stage 1, relief. Yeah, relief. You hate hearing that because your ego wants her to suffer immediately. You want justice on schedule, but real life doesn't care what you want. In the beginning, she feels relief because the tension is gone. The arguments stop. The accountability stops. The emotional weight of dealing with you stops. She can breathe. She can go out. She can post. She can tell herself a story that makes her the hero. And that story sounds like this. It just wasn't working. We needed space. He was too much. I deserve peace. You know what that is? That's called emotional anesthesia. Relief is not proof she doesn't care. Relief is what people feel when they leave something that required effort. And if your relationship required effort, the first sensation is always the quiet after the noise. But here's the flip. Relief has a shelf life because relief doesn't fill anything. It only removes pressure. It doesn't create meaning. And once the dopamine of freedom wears off, reality creeps in. Stage 2, curiosity, the itch. She starts checking. Not always directly, but she checks your social media, your activity, your silence. She asks herself questions she didn't ask when she had you on demand. Why isn't he reaching out? Is he okay? Is he angry? Is he with someone? Did I misjudge how much he cared? And you need to hear this. Curiosity is the beginning of loss. Because when you were chasing, she didn't need curiosity. She had certainty. She knew if she pulled away, you'd lean in. She knew if she stayed vague, you'd try harder. She knew if she acted cold, you'd warm the room. But when you go silent, you break the pattern. That's called pattern interruption. And the human brain hates interrupted patterns. It starts filling gaps. It starts obsessing. It starts inventing narratives. Your absence becomes loud because it has no explanation she can control. Stage 3, validation hunting. The substitute phase. This is where her pride tries to protect her. Instead of sitting with the discomfort, she looks outward. She goes to friends. She goes to attention. She goes to options. She posts a little more, laughs a little louder, flirts a little easier. Not always because she's evil, sometimes because she's scared. Because if she can get external validation, she can tell herself she didn't lose anything. But here's the problem: attention is cheap. And cheap attention has no aftertaste of security. It's sugar. It spikes, then crashes. The likes stop feeling like love. The messages stop feeling like respect. The newness stops feeling like safety. And then she compares, not consciously at first, but internally. He listened. He showed up. He had presence. He had weight. And the men in her inbox, they want access, not responsibility. They want a moment, not a mission. They want her body, not her life. That's when the regret begins to grow teeth. Stage 4, the memory attack. Selective replay. Now the brain does something brutal. It starts replaying the highlights, not the fights, not the disrespect, not the time she dismissed you. It replays the warmth, the trips, the laughter, the way you held her when she was overwhelmed, the way you handled life, the way you stayed consistent even when she wasn't. This is where most men mess up because you feel the urge to help. You think, if she's remembering me, I should reach out? No, shut your mouth. Stay disciplined, because if you reach out during her memory attack, you don't become the man she regrets losing. You become the man she can re-access without changing. And that's the whole point. Regret without consequence is just emotion. It's not transformation. It's not accountability. It's a mood. Stage 5, discomfort turns inward. The self-confrontation. This is the stage she avoids the hardest, because now the question isn't, what did he do? It becomes, what did I do? And if she has any self-awareness, she starts seeing the pattern. The ways she pushed, the ways she tested, the ways she withheld, the ways she expected you to be steady while she was unstable. The way she wanted the benefits of a strong man without the humility to honor him. And listen carefully. This stage only happens if you stay no contact. Because if you keep reaching out, you give her a target. She can blame you. She can argue. She can distract herself with your reaction. Silence removes the target. Silence forces self-audit. That's called consequence clarity. And consequence clarity is where regret becomes real. Stage 6, the power shift, fear of replacement. Now she starts wondering if the door is closing for real. Not is he mad, not will he chase, but what if he's done? And that fear doesn't come from you manipulating her. It comes from her realizing you have agency. You have standards. You have a life that continues without her approval. And that's terrifying to someone who got comfortable being the center of your attention. Because when she was the sun and you were the planet, she never had to worry about orbit. You revolved predictably, reliably. But now you're not orbiting. You're building your own gravity. And that's when she feels something sharp. The fear that another woman will receive the version of you she took for granted. Stage 7, the reach out, the test message. This is where the message comes. Maybe it's sweet, maybe it's casual, maybe it's stupid on purpose. Hey, hope you're well. I saw something that reminded me of you. Are you okay? Or the classic, a meme, a breadcrumb, a random question she already knows the answer to. This is not always reconciliation. This is often a test. She's testing one thing. Are you still available on her terms? If you respond instantly, emotionally, with paragraphs, with explanations, with anger, with begging, with I miss you, you fail because you confirm the same old dynamic. You confirm she still has access, and if she still has access without earning it, she will respect you even less. You want to know what regret is supposed to do? It's supposed to upgrade her behavior. It's supposed to mature the connection. It's supposed to bring accountability to the table. If it doesn't do that, it's not regret. It's nostalgia. That's called confusion. And confusion is how men stay trapped. Now, let's talk about you. Because I'm not here to help you obsess over her psychology like a spectator. I'm here to make you dangerous again. Calm, focused, self led. Because the real win of no contact isn't her regret, it's your recovery. Let me describe the archetype the man who does this right. He doesn't hate her. He doesn't worship her. He sees her clearly. He doesn't threaten no contact. He doesn't announce it. He doesn't use it like a protest sign. He just moves quietly, cleanly. He has boundaries that don't scream. They don't need to because he enforces them. He wakes up and his life has structure. Training, work, purpose, brotherhood, skill, money management, spiritual grounding, sleep, discipline. Not because he's trying to impress her, but because he refuses to live like a broken man. He doesn't chase closure. He creates closure. He doesn't negotiate respect. He requires it. He doesn't beg to be chosen. He chooses himself first so that if he chooses a woman, it means something. And when she reaches out, he doesn't melt. He doesn't punish. He assesses. Does she speak with accountability? Does she show behavioral change? Does she respect the boundary? Does she bring peace? Or does she bring chaos wearing perfume? That's a man with standards. That's a man with self-respect. That's a man who doesn't need to win her back because he never lost himself. Now, action, because motivation without direction is just emotional entertainment, and you're done being entertained by your own pain. Do this. Stop checking her socials. Stop asking mutual friends. Stop rereading old texts like they're scripture. Stop romanticizing the version of her that only existed when you were ignoring reality. Stop feeding the addiction. Redirect that energy into proof. Proof that you are not the same man. Train your body hard enough that your mind gets quiet. Move weights, run hills, sweat out the negotiation. You want emotional stability. Earn it hormonally, earn it neurologically, clean your environment. The room you live in is a reflection of the standards you tolerate. You tolerate clutter, you tolerate chaos, you tolerate chaos, you tolerate disrespect. Lock your schedule. When your day is empty, your mind fills it with her. When your day has purpose, her becomes a thought, not a prison. Build your value in silence, not posting, not flexing, not signaling. Real work, real competence, real money, discipline, real skill, real friendships, real leadership. And when the urge hits, because it will, when the loneliness rises in your throat and you want to reach out just to feel something, do this. Delay 10 minutes, then 30, then an hour. That's called urge surfing. You're not dying, you're detoxing. If she reaches out, keep it simple, calm, slow, respectful. No emotional vomit. No interrogation. No. Where have you been? No. Do you miss me? No. Why did you do that? You are not a court attorney. You are a man evaluating whether access to your life is earned. And if she comes back with no accountability, no clarity, no change, if she comes back with excuses, blame, confusion, or games, you don't teach her. You don't argue. You don't try to win. You exit cleanly. Because here's the cost of tolerating half-love. It trains you to accept less than you deserve. And that rots your masculinity from the inside out. Let me ask you a question you've been avoiding. What if she never regrets it? Good, because then you're free. You don't do no contact to control her feelings. You do no contact to reclaim your identity. You do it because you refuse to be the man who stays accessible to someone who treats him like an option. You do it because you're done auditioning for basic respect. And if she does regret it, if she comes back different, humbled, honest, accountable, then you'll be able to meet that moment like a man, not like a starving boy who finally got a crumb. This is the shift. You stop needing her to validate your worth. You stop needing her to confirm you mattered. You stop needing the relationship to prove you're lovable. You become the proof. You become the standard. You become the man who says, I don't chase what runs from me. I build what builds me. Presence versus silence. Fantasy versus reality. Emotion versus discipline, boy versus man. And understand this. Her regret is not your mission. Your mission is your life, your purpose, your self-respect, your peace. That's the kingdom. A woman is either aligned with it or she's not invited in. So here's your identity reset, and I want you to hear it like an oath. You are the answer, not her apology, not her text, not her return. You, the man you're becoming in the quiet. Stay no contact if the connection cost you your dignity. Stay silent if speaking makes you small. Stay disciplined if your emotions beg you to surrender. And subscribe again. Not because I need it, but because you do. You need these reminders when your heart starts rewriting history. You need truth over comfort. If you want more clarity, more backbone, more direction for how to move like a man in a world that rewards weakness, you're in the right place. You're not alone in this. There's a community of men rebuilding themselves the right way, quietly, relentlessly, with standards.